What is up, guys? It's your coach DJ back again from Way of the Nomad podcast. Today's episode is all about when you feel like quitting, that's when the journey actually starts. And I'm joined with a special guest, the one and only Coach Vujan. What is up?
Yo, what is going on,
How's your day?
everyone? Welcome back to another episode of A Vision Includes You podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Vu. I'm an online fitness and mindset coach. And today I am joined with Coach DJ. We're going to be talking about when you feel like quitting, that's when the real journey starts. And I'm actually super freaking excited to get started on this topic because I feel like a lot of times, I think it's normal. It's normal to feel doubt. It's normal to feel like you want to quit. It's normal to feel like you want to throw in the towel and just, go back to your old habits. So me and DJ, we're going to be breaking down why, if you feel like quitting, you're on the right path. So I'm actually super excited to get into it. DJ, how's your day going?
Best day of my life, man. A lot of things going on, a lot of things to plan, but looking forward to the next coming weeks. And if you guys haven't been following along, I'm going on a huge trip to Southeast Asia, across the world. So guys, tune in. I'm also making a promise. My promise, guys, if I'm not doing it, I want you guys to all freaking roast me or whatever, comment like, yo, you're a liar. I'm going to make one vlog per week, minimum. One vlog, YouTube vlog. I've been really, if you guys don't already follow me on YouTube, I post a bunch of shorts. I have a few vlogs already, but I'm not consistent with it. So my promise is to post one vlog per week. It's going to be, obviously vlogging my adventure, but also give you some actionable value, guys, because I know a lot of people here are on the go. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're on vacation. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips while I'm literally doing that. So that's my biggest wins.
DJ, I'm actually going to call you out on this podcast and hold you to a higher standard because this is something I've actually done as well, or I'm actually started. I joined a challenge where I have to post one talking head video or reel every single day for the next 30 days. And if I miss a day, that's $1,000 towards charity. So if you're up for it, if you're up for it, I challenge you to do the exact same thing. So if you cannot commit to one vlog, okay,
I will commit, maybe not $1,000.
No. That's going to hold you to a higher standard so that you actually don't miss.
All right. Or so you're saying I have to make, wait, hold on. So I have to make one vlog per week, upload it on YouTube. But okay, what if, let's say just one scenario, let's say I don't have connection. What then? Like, what if I don't have internet?
DJ, you will have the internet. You will. All right.
Okay. In the instance that I don't have the internet,
then you better have that video recorded. You better have that video recorded.
I 100% will have a video recorded. I will 100% vlog it. I will 100.
DJ, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but that's your commitment. Do you accept?
Right. I accept. I will make one vlog per week. Again, I'm not making a promise that this is going to be the most crazy vlog you've ever seen, but I will post a vlog and it will be done. And quality is subjective, guys. So tune in, guys. Nomadic Fitness on YouTube. I have already a few vlogs. Again, I'm not super consistent yet, but that's one of my biggest promises. I think, you know what? Fine, I'll do it because I know I am a no matter what type of person. I am a fucking no matter what type of person. The only time that I will not post once a week is for some reason I don't have internet, and that could happen because again, I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to be staying. Yeah, but I will be recording and I will have the content for those weeks and I'll probably post it maybe 2 in 1 week. But anyways, we're getting off track with our topic of discussion. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about the different stages of change, right? And so that's what we really want to break down. It's like we want to break down what happens in a fitness journey. And if you guys are tuning into the live and you can watch the audio, I actually want to share the screen. I think you could also share the screen. So if you're watching this live, we're going to show a diagram of exactly the different stages of a fitness journey. So bear with us. And if you're tuning into the audio only replay, we will break it down in our beautiful voices. So give us a second. Where is it? The concordance conundrum. There it is. Okay. So, Kevin, you got that showing up on your...
Yep, I'm about to... You can just go ahead and start explaining.
Yeah, awesome. So, guys, when you start your fitness journey, there is the first stage, which is pre-contemplation. This is, by the way, the model is called the trans-theoretical model of change. Okay, and there are actually 5 stages, and hopefully the 6th stage, and we'll break that down. So the 5 stages, starting with the first one, is pre-contemplation. So this is literally, you don't even have it on the top of your mind. So let's say it's your fitness goal. Let's say it's a business goal. Let's say whatever goal it is, right? You're not even thinking about it. You're like, it would be kind of cool, like but you don't care. There's no real intention behind it. And a lot of people are here. And typically what happens is something will trigger you. So let's say you look in the mirror and you're freaking disgusted with what you see, or you look down and you can't even see your toes, or you try to catch the bus and you can't freaking physically run. And this is the truth. This is unfortunately what happens. Something triggers you. And then what happens is you go into the second stage, which is contemplation stage. So once you start contemplating it, it's because something happened, something triggered it, and now you're aware of a problem. So there's a problem that exists, but you're still not committed to change. You just know that, like, man, I'm pretty overweight. I'm pretty out of shape. Like, I'm pretty unhappy with where I'm at, but you're still not thinking of changing, right? And I want you, Kevin, to break down the next stage. So I just broke down the pre-contemplation stage. Is like, it is nowhere near, you're not thinking of making any changes. Then the contemplation stage is typically something triggers you. You're trying to run for the bus, you're trying to walk upstairs, and you're like, holy crap, we're taking way too much effort. And now the next stage.
I think we should give like practical examples relating to like where you might be right now. So in the contemplation stage, you most likely, let's say you're super overweight, but you're not going to admit that to yourself, and you don't care about being healthy whatsoever. You're probably eating a lot of fast food, drinking alcohol, like 5-6 days a week, and you really don't care about being healthy whatsoever. Yeah. In the contemplation stage, maybe you decide to walk up a flight of stairs and you're like, wow, I'm really out of shape, and I can't believe like I am sweating buckets just by walking up 2 flights of stairs. So now you're aware of the problem that's happening, which is, maybe you're super overweight. And the preparation stage, this is going to be the 3rd stage. And this is where you actually start planning to take action. So maybe you get a visit to your doctor's office and your doctor's like, okay, you know what? You're really overweight right now. You have to do something about it. Otherwise, you might be at a high risk to diabetes or obesity and all these other health complications. And this is where things get serious. And you're like, wow, that's like a reality check right now. Like, I actually have to do something. Like, before I knew I had kind of had this problem. It wasn't as serious. But now, since you went to the doctors and they're telling you all these things, it's like, you can't deny that. You're no longer in denial. You have to understand that you're in a serious problem right now, that you actually have to do something. So the next step after that is action. So now that you've visited your doctors and they're telling you, okay, you have all these health problems, you might die within the next 2 years if you don't do something and take action on your health. So action could be anything, as in like, okay, maybe you start watching what you eat. Maybe you start trying to eat healthier. Maybe you start meal prepping. Maybe you start exercising a little bit more. Like, whatever it is, you typically have a plan of action where you're going to follow to make those lifestyle changes. DJ, what are your thoughts on that so far?
Yeah, so with the contemplation, I think you hit the nail on the head with that, except so contemplation, you definitely are thinking about it. You're thinking about the changes, but you actually don't have a plan. So like, this is the part where it's like, you would like to start with it, you just don't have anything planned yet. And so that brings you to the next stage, which you were kind of already like jumping a little bit ahead, but like where you're saying that you have that plan, you have the idea of what you want to do. So this becomes the preparation stage. So this is the 3rd stage now. So the 3rd stage is now you're intending to take action. So like Kevin said, maybe your doctor told you need to start losing weight, or else you're not going to live past 40, or maybe you're going to be on blood medication for the rest of your life, right? So now you're kickstarted. You're like, oh, I got to actually do something. I got to figure this out. So the preparation stage is typically, if you're watching this right now and you don't have a coach already, you don't have a personal trainer, you don't have a program, you aren't doing anything, that's probably where you're at. That's probably where you're at. So you're thinking of it, you want to change, but you just don't know where to go. So you're probably in the preparation stage. You probably bought a pair of running shoes. Maybe you bought your a new tank top for the gym. And this is the part where you're trying to figure out your options. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do next. So you're just literally planning it out and thinking, what are my best options? And so if you're listening to this right now, you might be, the thing is, people can stay stuck here, right? A lot of people stay stuck in the preparation stage because there's so many options out there. And the reality is, my best piece of advice, if you're stuck, I would say just jump the gun and try whatever you think is going to help you, because you're never going to know until you try. So there's a lot of people that stay stuck in the preparation stage because they, have all these doubts. They don't know if they are going to make the results, if they hire the coach, if they get the gym membership, are they going to show up? Are they going to do this? Well, I'll tell you what, until you try, until you make that jump, you'll never know. So you're going to stay stuck here.
And I want to say, and the good way to know whether or not you're in the stage, if you constantly tell yourself, yeah, I'll start tomorrow, or like I'll start on Monday, or I'll start next week, I'll start next month, I'll start in the new year. If you're constantly telling yourself, then most likely you're in the preparation stage, but you never fully moved on to the next stage, which is everything we've preached for the past 200 podcast episodes, which is taking action. So DJ, back to you.
I love that. Yeah. And so again, if you're worried that you're going to fail, well, guess what? You're going to fail by default by staying stuck of not taking action. Inaction in itself is a decision, guys. So it's either you choose to do and make a change, or you choose not to, and you guarantee failure. And you're only failing because you're not giving yourself a chance. And that is a guarantee. You will fail if you don't try. And so the next stage, the fourth stage, is now you take action. Okay. So I want to relate this now to, let's say, the people, even in a program right now, if you're listening to this, maybe people that started at a gym, maybe you started a boot camp class, right? Whatever it may be. Right now, you are in the beginning phase of trying to develop better habits. You're trying to develop this new behavior. And so this part is actually one of the hardest parts, is to actually make that jump. But making that jump, now you're in, again, you've overcome that hardest part, which is, again, what I said, is making that jump. And so when you're taking action now, it's just following the behaviors. Maybe you're laid out the plan. You were told by your coach you need to do X, Y, Z, or you're told by your personal trainer, or whatever it may be, right? And so now you have to execute the behavior. And in this stage, what happens is, especially in the beginning, you have the most motivation, right? So first 2 weeks, I would say the first week, you're going to be highly motivated. You're going to be 100% doing everything you can. And this is the stage where you're the most on top of your shit, right? And so you're taking action all the time, and you're actually doing something different. So that's the action stage. Kevin, you want to add anything?
I just want to say, I think, after we get that initial action, and we're getting super motivated, things are easy. I'll be honest with you, if I just told you to go for a 5-minute walk and it's going to make you feel a lot better, yeah, it's going to be easy. A 5-minute walk is easy. Drinking your water is easy. All these things are easy to do. But I think after transitioning away from action, there's always going to be shit that comes up. We all know life is about to happen. We all know that something's going to happen that's going to throw you off your routine. You're going to feel like you're in a bad headspace. You're going to go through a breakup, divorce, whatever it is. I don't wish that upon anyone, but that's just the nature of life. Nothing's ever going to go as 100% planned as you planned, right? So the reason why it's so hard to maintain, and that's the next stage, our progress, is because people, as much as you would like to plan ahead and have all these things, something's just going to come up unexpectedly, and it's going to throw you completely off track. And this stage is actually split into two parts. It's either you maintain your progress, it's either you maintain everything that you've built up, or a lot of times people end up quitting. And this is the other stage, which is relapsing, when they return back to their old habits, old ways. It's hard. And this is the hardest part of their fitness journey. And I want to argue that the hardest part of your fitness journey isn't actually getting started, isn't actually taking action. And I would argue that it's actually maintaining the results that you've built, all the progress that you built, because anyone can lose 10 pounds. I'll be honest with you. Anyone can lose weight. If you go on a quick fast, a keto diet, detox teas, whatever, you'll lose weight. But the hardest part is actually maintaining that progress. And that's why a lot of those methods end up failing. It's because they don't teach you sustainable habits. They only teach you, hey, restrict yourself. You can do all this. You're going to lose a bunch of water weight. And then you look on the scale and you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually down 10 pounds. great. That's so cool. But guess what? Guess what happens when you actually start eating again? After a week, 2 weeks, you're going to regain all that weight back. So this is why, as coaches, we want to preach sustainability. We want to preach balance. We want to preach that in order for you to get the results, we don't only want you to get the results. We want you to maintain it for the rest of your lives.
Yep.
And that's the hardest part, because a lot of people, yes, they're going to see amazing results, but they're unable to upkeep it and maintain their progress. They either go back to their old habits, they either go back to who they thought they've always been, and they start self-sabotaging. And that's why a lot of people end up failing. So this whole topic of when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you're going to throw in the towel of making all your progress and then pretty much regressing, this is where your true journey really starts. The true journey starts in the maintenance phase, because this is a part of who you are now. DJ, take it away.
I love that. I love that. You know what? I agree. So there are two, I would say the two hardest things is getting started. That's half the battle. I would say getting started is half the battle. And then 49% of the battle is maintaining it. So like Kevin said, like your maintenance stage, it's split it up into two parts. So you either, again, may be able to maintain it and you actually get the goals, you get the thing that you set out for, or you relapse and you return to your old ways here. And so exactly what you were saying, like this is the part where you need to realize that it's not gonna come within 2 months. It's not gonna come within 4 months. It might take a year. It might take 2 years, guys. And like, for example, like sometimes your maintenance phase might last you a lifetime. You might still be doing it, right? Like, for example, this doesn't just apply to fitness. One thing that I think we can relate this to, let's say you're talking about alcoholic or a drug addict, right? They're in the maintenance phase for their whole life, like not their whole life, but for a very long period of time, right? And it's like so easy to relapse because it's literally an addiction, right? And so we have to realize that, you know, just because you're on this journey and it's been a couple months, been 3 months, like 6 months even, or a year even, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to the last stage, which in this case, the 6th stage is termination, which means that you no longer want to return to your old ways. Okay. So this is the successful part of this journey of change, right? And so what I want you guys to realize is that sometimes a year is not enough. Sometimes, again, when we talk about marathon, when we talk about it's not a sprint, it's because from person to person, your maintenance phase might take longer, especially if your habits have been ingrained in you for 20 plus years. You know, some people have had, you know, really bad habits for years and years and years. So it's not really feasible to think that maybe after 1 year, all of that is completely reversed. I mean, yes, it's possible, maybe for some people, but that doesn't mean that if you don't, it doesn't mean that you're a failure, right? Like I think what we need to really focus on is that in the maintenance phase, sticking with it can take very long, right? Until we turn that into a actual habitual pattern. And so, like it says in the article, there's a lot of things that we need to focus on, especially, planning and being aware of what's going to happen. So this is what I want to break down, guys. This is what I want to talk about. So in your fitness journey, I want everyone to expect. So the title of today's podcast, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like saying, F it, this is not worth it, this is like so dumb, I'm doing so much work, it's not making results. Congratulations. You have finally entered the arena of where it's going to finally count. This is the part where I want you guys to picture you finally met the final boss of this video game, and only until you vanquish this boss can you move to the next level. And so it's like, this is the part that you've been preparing for your whole entire journey, in the entire level of this said video game of life. You've been preparing for this moment to vanquish the freaking boss, right? And again, I just want to paint this picture that you don't just do this fitness thing and it's like, oh yeah, I did it, I lost 20 pounds, okay, I'm done. No, that's congratulations. You finally entered the stage where you finally face the demon, the actual monster, which is the habits, which is the long-term things that have been holding you back for years and years and years. This is how you actually lose that 20 pounds for good and never regain it, right? So this is what happens. After a few months, 6 months, you might have lost the weight that you wanted to lose, right? But what happens is you maybe have not learned the fact that it is a lifestyle. Maybe you still have been relying on motivation. Maybe you've been relying on, like, I just want to look good. I want to impress, blah, 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 right? At this stage, you still have not mastered what you need for it to be a true change. Like, you've only gotten a piece of the actual pie. You've only succeeded in one phase of the journey. And again, like, the maintenance stage, it might look like 100 levels, right? And you just completed level 5. And it's different from person to person, like I said. But if you're aware of that, if you understand that once you get to that point, let's say you had a goal of losing the 20 pounds and you actually hit it, that's not when it's done. That is not when your journey is finished. It's when your dog dies. It's when you get in a car accident. It's when you're going through a divorce. It's when you're going through heartbreak. It's when you're going through depression. It's when you're like, these are the points of your life where now, did you actually like build this into your character, into your identity? And is this actually what you're going to do no matter what? That's when you're tested. That's when it's going to determine whether or not this is actually going to get to that 6th stage, which is actual successful change, which is a termination of you attempting these changes. This is, again, and the reason why we titled today's episode is because you need to understand that just because you got to a result, just because you're getting some great progress, doesn't mean you're done, right? And when you're getting tested, that's when you truly will know whether or not this is something that you're really going to do for the rest of your life. And I want to focus on that. And Kevin, you want to add anything to that?
Ooh, you just dropped a ton of freaking fire. I think like everything you said was on point. Like your maintenance, like your whole fitness journey and everything. I strongly believe that you're going to spend a good amount of time in your fitness journey at maintenance. It should be years. Like even till this day, I still believe that I'm truly at maintenance. I don't think that I'm fully at the termination phase because again, this is a whole lifelong commitment, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's going to look different. DJ, you're probably at maintenance, you're probably at termination, but the whole point that we're trying to get across to all of you here is that you have to stop looking at your fitness journey as, oh, a temporary thing. Oh, all I have to do is join this fitness program for 6 months, or like, oh, I only have to do this for a year, and then I can get the results, and then I could just go back to my old ways. I could just go eat all the fast foods. I could just go back to like drinking. No, guys, like this whole stage of change that we're talking about here, this is a identity shift.
Yeah.
You have to understand that. You are literally just changing your whole self. The person, I want you to think about this for a second. Who you are right now versus who you are 5 years from now. The person who you are 5 years from now, if you actually committed to your goals, and if you actually committed to change, that person 5 years from now will no longer even recognize the person you are today. That's how you have to think about it as. And this is one quote that I always say, that you have to be willing to kill your old self. Like that's what it is. Like the person I was 5 years ago, I'm no longer that person. I've killed that person because in order for you to like grow, and this is other quote where it's, in order for a butterfly to be born, you have to kill the caterpillar. That's essentially what it is.
That's right.
In order for you to like evolve into something much greater, you have to be willing to let go of that old self, that self-sabotaging self, that person who's always been drinking every single night, the person who's always doing all these bad habits, doing all these drugs, doing all this alcohol. No, you have to let go of that person if you truly want to transform into something much greater. So that's the beauty of the whole fitness journey. And you have to understand that when you feel like quitting, when life hits you like a freaking truck, that's when the real challenge begins. And you have to embrace that. You have to be ready for that. All right. And yes, not everyone's going to be ready for that, but we're just giving you this to let you understand that it's going to come eventually. But you just have to understand that that's when your true character and your true identity is going to reveal. And like, who are you really? Yeah, who are you really?
I love that. I love that. I love that. 100% agree with that. And you know what? I remember seeing this quote by Alex Hormozi, and it was about the fact that, you know, if you're waiting for the perfect time to start, that's the worst scenario to wait for, because you're basically banking on the idea that once things get busy again, once things get easier for you, sorry, you're banking on the idea that you're only going to do this when things are perfect conditions, right? And so in the reality of this, that if you are in a situation where, it's, I'm going to wait until the kids go to school, or I'm going to wait until I get the promotion. Well, guess what? You're banking on the idea that things are going to be things are going to go well for you. And then when things don't go well for you, what are you going to do? So this is the whole point that we're trying to come across, is that, you need to prepare for these situations that are going to derail you. And the best time to actually start is when you're in turmoil, when things are not quote unquote perfect scenario. Because if you can handle, focusing on your health and fitness when you have 100 things going on, guess what? For the rest of the time, you're going to find it so much easier because you prepared for these situations that are going on. And another thing that I want to add, this is a personal story. The time that I knew that this workout and exercise was my identity, the moment I knew that I 100% will live and die by like fitness and health, was the moment that I was showing up at the gym with a fucking broken knee. I was showing up at the gym, I couldn't even bend my leg, and I was showing up at the gym. That's when I knew at that point that I live and breathe fucking fitness. And this is something that I want you guys to realize, that you might get your freaking knee broken into pieces, and you might have to still work on your fitness goals. Like, that's the reality of it. And the reality of it is, this is a lifelong thing. This is something that you need to always consciously be thinking about until it's no longer conscious. And once it's no longer conscious, that's when I think you've hit termination stage. When it's like, oh, I broke my knee. Okay, how will I get to the gym? Once you get to that extreme point, congratulations. You finally got to the point where this is now your identity. This is now who you are, because you're no longer looking for excuses. You're no longer looking at environmental factors. You're just looking for the solution, and you're finally at the point where it becomes automatic. And with that, I think that's a great place to end it off. Kevin, you want to add anything before we sign out?
Yeah, and if you're listening to DJ's story, you're like, well, DJ, your fitness goals, like, I can't relate to that. Like, I don't live and breathe fitness. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm going to bring on one of my clients. She's a rock star client. Her name is Jackie, and she told me that, before we were chatting in the DMs, right? She told me that she used to identify herself as this fat, funny person at parties, and she would be like binge eating, drinking, etc., just to like try to get along with everyone. But now she identifies herself as a fit, fearless female, because she understands that this is who she is now. She enjoys working out. She loves going to the gym. She loves crushing her workouts. She loves being active. And this is her new identity. Like, I truly believe that Jackie, she's at the termination stage because she's no longer going to be going to those old habits anymore, because she has reshifted her whole lifestyle. She has shifted her identity into someone who embraces fitness as a part of their lifestyle. That's all I have to say. So with that being said, DJ, that's going to come to the end of this podcast. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on all major social media platforms. And again, look out for the YouTube starting in middle or near third week of September. Nomadic Fitness and Way of the Nomad podcast on all major streaming platforms. And Kevin, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Vision Fitness, and you can also follow my podcast as well at A Vision Includes You podcast. Until next time, we're signing off.
Peace.